So just macro level here, there's two drivers for the copper industry right now. One is the demand story, which we hear a lot about in terms of electrification of our global economy. And then number two is the supply side, which is depleting mines. On the demand side, I do see a demand continuing to increase regardless of what you see and read in the global economy. That demand is driven by electrification of transportation. I saw this when I was living in Beijing almost 20 years ago with the air pollution that we saw there. And that kind of drove me into the electrified car industry and getting behind the lithium space when I was the CEO of a lithium company. Fast forward to today, China was developing an automotive industry 20 years ago, a nascent industry, and they wanted to be one of the biggest and best in the world. Today, they're producing the most cars in the world. They're producing over 30 million cars a year now, and last year, 50% of those cars are now electric. So in terms of tipping points, we've far passed the tipping point for electrification in China. And in fact, China's producing so many cars now that they're exporting to the rest of the world. They're one of the largest exporters now of automobiles behind Japan. And to give you perspective, the U.S. is producing about half of those numbers now in terms of cars out of the U.S. We're starting to see some of these cars show up in our jurisdictions, in Lima and in Chile. And just recently, we've been looking at buying new pickup trucks in our jurisdictions, and the Chinese trucks are much more affordable. Now these are combustion engine cars that we're seeing on the roads now, and I think China now makes up about 6% of the market down in South America, up from almost nothing a few years ago. And the projection is just over the next few years to be almost 15%, of those markets. So one question I have is, as we see electrification certainly proliferate in Europe, now in Asia, the U.S. has about 8% market share and growing. What do we think is going to happen down in South America? And Lucho, you're in Lima now. What do you think about electrification? And I know there's electric buses down there now.
You've got the electric buses that are starting to come into the municipalities. Yeah, what I remember when I was in China a few years ago. The move and in Asia in general, and South Korea as well. So it was very big, a centralized move towards that electrification. Here you don't have that, but it's going to start coming, right? I was in a mine just south of Lima in Condestable, which is an operating copper mine, and they've already got trucks, underground trucks for their underground operations for haulage that are electric, and they're using more. And obviously they're coming from China. I didn't know the number of 6%, right? But considering the growth that you have and the replacement of vehicles here, right? First of all, gas is expensive here. Gasoline is expensive. So you're going to see that move.
Yeah, Lucio, you talk about the economics of electrification. We're seeing BYD. You mentioned that the SUVs are starting to show up on the streets in Lima. They're cheaper to operate. They're cheaper to, from a gasoline perspective, cheaper to maintain. We're seeing this worldwide, and we're also seeing the experience that once people go electric, they don't want to go back, to combustion engine. But one car that's out now that BYD has started to produce in 2023 is the Seagull. This car the price point's about $12,000 US. It is really changing the game. And when you look at the car and analyze it, it's got one wiper blade, on the front. The welds are done in such a way that the body parts come together, in a manufacturing system that is very streamlined. So they've really reduced the cost of manufacturing. In fact, if you listen to Jim Farley, who's the CEO of Ford, he will say the same things, that the customer experience with electrification in the U.S., even though it's only 8% of the market right now, or it's as much as 8% of the market right now, is very strong. Their customers like the electrification, they like the performance, and what Ford is now doing is they're learning, they're studying Tesla, they're studying the Chinese manufacturing methods so that they can compete and they can produce a profitable electric car. And Jim Farley from Ford believes that the future is electric, and that they will be producing an electric car with improved battery technology. And their plan is to start doing that over the next 2 years. Now, their portfolio is not 100% electric. It's plug-in hybrid, it's range extenders, all the rest. But it's still around that electrification, electric drive, electric motors that need copper, electric batteries that are using copper if they're lithium. So BYD's got this new car. It is really a game changer. It's disruptive to the automotive industry, and I think the cars like that will be driven, and the driver behind buying them will be economics in places like Lima, and where economics really do drive customers' purchase choices. And you can't talk about these adoption rates without looking at government incentives, right? So Norway certainly has incentives. China has or had incentives. They had a plan back in 2010 to look at electric battery or lithium-ion batteries, fuel cells, and electric drive propulsion systems. And 15 years later, they're now producing the most electric cars in the world, and they build the best cars in the world. And the government, through incentives or what have you, invested over $120 billion, into that industry. But as I said, they've now passed the tipping point where these cars now compete with combustion engine cars. So there's only one way to go when the driving experience is better and the car to buy is the same price as a combustion engine and the energy source is cheaper. It's electrification. That's the future. Well, that's here today. It's not even the future.